5 years feels like a really short time when think about it. But looking back at all that we've been through, it feels like a lifetime. Before we get into the serious stuff, how does it feel to hear Dot is 5 years old?
It feels more like a marriage between me, Kehul, and Dot, and yeah, that's probably.
I would say satisfied is the word for me. If I have to think to when I look back to what we had imagined and what we had envisioned, and that's been achieved. So for me, satisfied is the word.
When I think about Dot today, the people, the clients, the systems, it's very hard for me to imagine that it all started with just one idea. Take us back to the beginning. Where did the idea for Dot come from?
I would say that Dot was probably the start of Dot was probably accidental. It was never intended to be the way it is, but your circumstances change, and obviously we had to make that step, and we are very glad that we made the step. So when we started Dot, the biggest issue in the industry was there was no tech-driven offshoring solution. I still don't think there is any tech-driven offshoring solution. So if you want to blend in tech along with, I wouldn't call it outsourcing, I call it offshoring, bring the blend of that together. So we started off with the tech side of the business, developing our proprietary tech before we got into the offshoring side. So I think the blend of tech and offshoring is a concept we always wanted to bring in, and that's a concept we have in Dot.
It was Xerocon 2019. I very well remember. I think me and Arun were sitting on the conference, and we were dealing with rejections or disconnect with what we were doing, and listening to the other speakers and their success stories on the main stage. I said to Arun, pointing at it, that we should be on that main stage one day. So after that, we kind of did all the late nights thinking about what can we do. We went through all the possible ideas, and ultimately the thing that excited us was automation and software. So we thought, okay, this can connect our experience and passion. So when we started, it was a big risk, to be honest. We kind of dived into the software space, which we had no background of. The budget was tight, the COVID hit us hard, and here we are trying to meet companies we cannot meet, to share our vision, what we wanted the software to do. So yeah, it was tough. They were very uncertain, and to be honest, the start was like very uncertain, lot of question marks, but we never gave up.
At what point did it stop feeling like a concept? Whenever there's a new idea, it feels very intangible. So when did it move from being a concept to feeling like a real business taking shape?
I think when we started, it was almost like 9 months since we started thinking about our company and what we should have. We had a lot of ideas, and then the software was our main aim to start. And we had a very rough ride, I would say, because of a lot of challenges. We lost money as well as the time both, trying to get it right. But eventually there was a ray of hope, and slowly we were seeing some breakthrough in the software development, and we felt that, yeah, whatever we thought, we believed is ultimately coming all together. And just before a launch, when we decided, okay, we should launch Dot, I think it was 14th May 2021. Month prior to that was when we had a big client sign up, and that kind of put a trust, saying that no, you should invest in relations, because ultimately the clients do take care of you when you give your best.
One thing I would like to also add is, for any budding entrepreneurs, the biggest challenge is, look, always chase your dreams, because unless you chase your dream, you're not going to achieve success. And the first few years are always going to be challenging in any business, because we had experience in the industry, we had the connections in the industry. Still, it took us 2 years, and in 2 years, for the first couple of years, we're just thinking, are we doing the right thing? You keep questioning your abilities, you keep questioning your skills. But at the end of the day, if you're chasing your dream and you believe in your dream, success will come to you.
That's some very good advice for people out there who are, chasing their own dreams. What's interesting is that Dot has grown alongside an industry that has been quietly changing in the background. The accounting industry today, I'm sure, looks very different from when you started. What has changed the most in the last 5 years?
I would say the industry is, I would say it's pre-COVID, post-COVID. So I think it's more, COVID has changed the way we function because there's a lot of remote working. When we started, so let's say 5 years back, it was difficult, it's like a bit difficult to convince a client that remote does work. But COVID has changed all of that because people didn't have a choice. They had to work remotely. The talent shortages was always there. There was always demand for offshoring or outsourcing then. But I think COVID people have adapted and they accepted the fact that things can be done in a different way. And I would say a lot of clients now are looking at remote teams rather than outsourcing, where outsourcing a piece of work. They are looking to build teams with us, and that is the biggest change, and that's enabled purely because of the automation part and the remote working, especially in audit and stuff. We never expected that audit can be done remotely, but I think that is one of the biggest growth areas for us as well. I think we're going towards a path, it's progression of a path from outsourcing to offshoring, and that's probably the biggest change in the industry, coupled with automation, of course.
Kehul?
I think I'll agree with Arun on this, but I think a lot has changed in last 5 years. You look at Gen Z, for them, accountancy profession didn't appeal to that extent what it was before. They were more into content creations and investment banking. Go into conference and you can see a big gap between the demand and supplies in terms of accountancy profession. So the industry was also going through the talent shortage. Plus, add to that is the skill requirements have changed, which means that you no longer are only confined to your traditional accountancy knowledge. You need to be tax savvy, fluent in adopting the softwares, be analytical, and use of AI tool. That's something that has changed.
I remember when we started, AI was not part of the conversation at all. What, according to you all, has been the biggest mindset shift when it comes to AI for both the business and the industry?
The way I look at AI is change is inevitable. Is another chapter in all the changes which we have seen from the past 20-25 years being in this industry. Our profession, accountancy profession, has been more watchful and taken step at a time. If we think about the process of where the automation has come more, we say, okay, transaction process has become more automated. It's like on an autopilot mode. But validation and authentication still requires human eye. So when we talk about the firms, the earlier perception 2 years back would be, is AI safe? And if we speak to them now, it's like, can we embed them in our culture?
I think to me AI is not optional. It's a question of survival. Because if people don't adapt or firms don't adapt to AI, they're not going to survive for long. So we also invest a lot of time because the skill sets required with AI is different. Over the last 5 years, it's for example, from a bookkeeping point of view, the basic bookkeeping. As Kehul rightly said, a lot of things are automated already in the industry. So the kind of skill sets you need is more people who can do health checks with the books, rather than physically doing the bookkeeping. So that's where this is going, is that you will need people still, but the skill sets you need for those people are different. But one other thing which worries me personally on AI in another 3-4 years is that if everything is automated, how are people, the new kids, going to get trained with the basics of accounting, like the way we have been trained? Yeah. What will training be looking like? If the fundamentals are not clear in terms of basics of accounting, are they then a position to do the health checks, the reviews and those kind of stuff? Because if you don't know what the error is, if you don't understand the fundamentals of accounting, because you're not doing that anymore. We used to do it. We used to do, I used to still remember the red book I used to do, the reconciliation, the casting and all this stuff. I still remember. So I think we have gone to our generation has gone to the basic level, the hardcore level of bookkeeping and accounting, but I'm not sure with AI, the new generation, whether they will be able to learn the fundamentals like we used to learn. So I think that is going to be a bigger shift in how do you train the new gen.
I think something that often gets overlooked is how much trust is actually required in this model that we're working with. It's never an easy yes from the start for the clients. And I can imagine that was the case when Dot was new. How did the clients react in the early days, and how does it compare to today?
I think that the two important components here is change management and credibility. Because we have got almost 25 years experience in the industry, by default the credibility comes in because we know what we are doing. We have done this for years. So a lot of the clients in the industry already knew us. So that was easier for us too, because they know we have worked with them in the past, and even the newer clients. So we, over the period, we have built credibility because we've got plenty of clients in the top 100 who use our services in the UK, Ireland. So the kind of clients, so one of the things we always encourage our prospective clients is to talk to our existing clients so that they can share the experiences with them and be better prepared. So I think we heavily get involved in change management, and our credibility is already there where it needs to be.
That's a great point. Kehul, you want to add something to that?
I think when you are a new company, it's given that you have to give 200% to whatever you do, more than 100. Irrespective whether you have a reputation in the industry, you still need to gain that trust again back, because it's like a player who's coming out of semi-retirement. I'll put it in that way. So earlier clients would start on a cautious note, and the questions would be: is my data safe? Is there a visibility to the process? Do you have quality and consistency in what you are going to deliver? So when we started off, yes, even though there were few who knew us from the industry and has worked with us in the past, but the new ones started on a cautious note. But we delivered the reports, the accounts, whatever they asked for, time and again, on time. And then the trust started building, which meant that the word spread. We were able to move out from UK and to other geographic regions like UAE, Canada, and US. So earlier there was no presence. We were never kind of looking at US or Canada, but now we are there. I think the big credit also goes to our software, which is like giving us an edge over other teams or other operations that provide such kind of services. And earlier the clients would ask, okay, is this possible? The question is flipped. Now they are like asking, how quickly can we start? So that's, it's all about trust and reaffirming it by delivering it to what they are asking.
There's more competition now than ever, and internally we know what truly differentiates from the others. But I want to know from you, why do clients choose to stay with us?
I think healthy competition is always good because it keeps you in the game, it keeps you awake at night. So our biggest USP is quality and service delivery, and we have consistently done that collectively over the last 25 years and the last 5 years in DOT. And we don't need to prove to anyone because our quality and our clients speak for our, and I always say that 80% of our business comes through referrals. So if surely we are doing a good job to get that kind of referrals from existing clients. So
Kehul, you want to add something?
Yeah, so I think competition has increased fivefold, I would say. And we could see that in Account X where we exhibit. There's so many providers, hard selling, undercutting, poaching, I mean, you name it. But where we stand out and differentiate, I would say we work with clients as a partners, not as a vendor. And obviously reputation and the experience that we have in the industry. Our team culture as well. Our team doesn't think, okay, it's a job. They do care about it when they are working. And most importantly, we show up when it matters. Clients, we listen to the clients.
I think that is so important.
I think just to add to that point, that look, at the end of the day, we are humans. We do make mistakes, but you stand up. You just say, yes, we messed up. We'll get this right. And that's where our biggest strength is, because even client understands that not every job is going to be perfect. But where we mess up, we put our hands up and say, we don't beat around the bush. We just say, yes, we messed it up. We want to make it right. And we do that 9 out of 10 times. Sometimes it happens.
When I look at DOT's journey, one thing that really stands out is the people, not just how many we are, but how many of us have been part of this journey so far. What does this team mean to you, especially when you look back now to where it all started?
I think one thing we need to understand is this is a people's business. And we firmly believe that if you look after your people, they will look after your clients. So we don't have to look after the clients because our people look after them. So I think so long they are looked after, they're part of the team, and we always call it as a dot family. So they're all part of the family, and they are working towards a common goal.
Unarguably, the biggest strength of Dot is their people and their trust. When I see it now, it's full of youth and experience. Some that have worked with us in the past know our style of working, but there are others who joined Dot from other companies and industries have blended well. I think it's our culture because we trust in them.
One thing also to add here would be that if a business is functioning independent of me and him, that means you've got a successful business. And at the moment the business is functioning, can function, although we don't want to be out of it, but can function without our involvement because we know that our core team are capable of managing this on their own.
That is so great that you think like that. I think we've reminisced enough about the last 5 years gone by. So what excites you the most for the next 5 years to what you're looking ahead?
I would say that in 3 words: growth, growth, and growth.
Kehul, you?
I think rigorous expansion is on card, especially in the Northern American territory. Bigger office and bigger team, definitely. Using AI as much as possible, and rather than shying it away, or we would prefer to use it in improving our process and do more of our CSR activity.
I think that's a very important point. When we started Dot, one of the fundamentals of our understanding as founders of the business was that when we are able to, we should be contributing towards the CSR, whether it's in the UK or whether it's in India. And I think I'm very proud to say that the team for the last at least 3 years have every year on year we upped our spend on CSR. And I'm sure that a lot of kids are benefited in the education side, especially with a lot of our CSR activities. And it's only going to go up because as we grow, we'll be doing more of it.
And not only the fact that you're contributing, but I love how the team is also extremely excited and they're always participating in large numbers whenever we have any activity.
Because they can see firsthand
the impact.
how impact they are creating,
Yeah.
and impact the children are the benefits the children are getting from the initiatives we are doing. So they can see it real time, and obviously they're emotionally connected to it.
I mean, I've seen instances where team, apart from what we are doing, has taken it further and say, okay, we want to voluntarily do something more.
Some clients
Yeah.
also,
And
lot
yes,
of, lot
clients
of
as
not
well.
few. There's a few of our clients who
Yeah.
actually add to our funds
Yes.
and then say and make a bigger contribution, and that's amazing when we
That's
do
wonderful.
that. So.
Before we wrap up, I think it's important to acknowledge the fact that no business reaches 5 years on its own. If there's one thing you could say to everyone who's been part of Dot's journey so far, what would that be?
I think we have spoken about client, the team. One of the most important things we forget is when you're venturing out into a new business like Dot, for example, the biggest support you need with partners. When I say partner, your business partner and also your life partner, because the first few years is really stressful, and so long you've got the support of your family, then you can achieve anything. So that is critical in this journey, because at the end of the day, in the evenings when you're sitting and getting stressed out, there's only one person you can go to. So I think that the family support is the most important part, which fortunately we both have had good support on the outside. Kehul can talk for himself.
Yeah, I think initially the family support was more important, so we can't thank them enough. And the others, we talk about clients, our team, in general, whosoever has believed in us. It's a way to say thank you, and also putting a faith in us, which means that and where we are today is because of their faith in us. And I would say that it's also a responsibility that we carry on our shoulders, and we are equally humble and accept it as a form of a gratitude to everyone.
I think it's most important is who has been with you during your bad time, because people are with you always when you're successful and your good times, but what is more important is who has been with you during your bad times, and they are the most relevant people for you.
Thank you both for this chat today. We're all proud of how far Dot has come, and we're all very excited for what lies ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Janita, and I think you should also be proud of what we have achieved so far
am.
and be part of this journey for the next 5 years.
I think it was long overdue, but made sense. 5 years, and we do this shoot. Hopefully, another milestone to achieve.
That was nice
Definitely.
coffee, by the way.
Yeah.